Hello, Sudoku friends. Welcome to April 14, 2023. And once again, we find ourselves staring at the New York Times hard Sudoku. Let's dive right in and see what it has in store for us. Well, there's a 2 and a 3 blocking across here, and there's a 2 and a 3 blocking down here. So these squares here must be a 2 and a 3. And we have a 1 and a 9 blocking down here. So this must be a 1 and a 9 pair in these two squares. And the only digit missing now is an 8. So these being a 2 and a 3, 8 blocking over, and 8 must go here. And as I said, these are 2s and 3s, and we still need, besides the 1 and the 9, we need the 4, which therefore must go here, right? This 4 here blocks across, this also blocks across. These two 4s block down, so a 4 is forced into the square here. We also have a 4 blocking down here and 1 blocking up here, and this 4 is blocking across like so. So a 4 must go in this square here. The 1 blocks down, the 1 blocks over, so one of these must be a 1. We also have a 1 in this row here, so a 1 must go eventually in one of these 3 squares. This 8 blocks across, this blocks up, so an 8 must go here, and a 3 can't go here, so a 3 must go up here somewhere. We also have a 3 blocking up, so one of these is going to be a 3. So if one of these is going to be a 3, let me recap. I think that was a bit fast. The 3 blocks down here, right? So one of these two must be a 3. And these will block over here. This 3 blocks up. So it stands to reason that one of these two squares must be a 3, and they block up here. And this 3 blocks up here. So a 3 must go in this square. And this 3 blocks across. So does this 3. Therefore, a 3 must go here. The 6 blocks up. So besides the 3, a 6 must go in one of these two squares here, making these a 4, which of course can't go here, and a 7. This 4 blocks up, so does this, and we got a couple of 4s blocking across here, so a 4 must go in this square here. An 8 can't go in this square because of the 8 blocking. So we need an 8 for one of these 3 squares, and it so happens that we have one 8 blocking this square, another 8 blocking this square, so an 8 must go here. I think we have a solution now to the 2 and the 3 pair we had here, because I'm looking at the 2's. These 2's here block these 2 squares, and we have a 2 blocking this square, and this is a 1, 9. So a 2 is forced to go in this cell here. And now we got this 2 blocking over and this 2 blocking over, this blocking down. So a 2 is forced into this square here. And that automatically gives us this 3, of course, which makes this a 3 because we do have a 3 and a 6 pair here. Those are secured now. Now one of these must be a 6. What else do we have for the column? A 1 and a 9. So this is a 1 or a 6. And I don't think I can take this any further. This 9 blocks up, this blocks over, no. What about here? 9 blocks down, 9 blocks over also. But hang on. This 9 blocks down. There's a 9 here in one of these two squares blocking over. So a 9 must go in one of these two squares and therefore in one of these two squares. It's not helping me right now, but perhaps my short-term memory will set in gear and help me later on. I didn't really complete the job of the 2's before. The 2 blocks up here, this 2 blocks up here, this 2 blocks over here, and this 2 blocks over here. So there's a 2 for this square here. These two squares now must be a 7 and an 8. What does that tell us about the other squares here? Nothing really, does it? 7, 8. What about the fives? 5 must go here or here. 9 must go, oh, hang on, yes, and 9 must go here or here. So that's not helpful, is my conclusion. What is conclusive, however, is a 5. See, this square cannot be a 5 because of the 5 blocking. So one of these 3 squares must be a 5, and they block over. This 5 also blocks over here, and this 5 blocks down. So a 5 is forced to go here. And this 5 now blocks up. Therefore, a 5 goes here. These squares have to be a 1, 9, and a 5. I distinctly remember that. Now we got a 5 and a 9 in this row. So a 1 must go here. And therefore, a 1 must go here because we got this 1 blocking over here and this 1 blocking over here. This is now a 9 and a 5, and this is a 9 and a 5. So the 9 goes here, the 5 here. And as soon as we find this 9, we know that this is going to be a 1. These squares must be what? An 8 and a 6. And I'm not sure I can do much about that at the moment. So let's look elsewhere for the next digit. We know that these are 7 and 8, therefore these must be a 9 and a 6. The 9 blocks over, so the 6 is forced to go here and the 9 here. This 9 blocks over, this 9 blocks up, and 9 therefore goes here, and this 9 blocks down, so does this 9 forced to go here. These two squares now must be a 6 and an 8. I should be able to do something with that. Yes, a 6 blocks over here, so an 8 goes here and the 6 here. That makes this an 8 and this a 7. Yes, and this must be an 8. Now we are looking at 3 empty squares, and they have to be a 6, 7, and a 5. And I don't know what to do with any of those. So let's see if there is some other low-hanging fruit. What are these? They have to be a 7 and a 6. Also no joy. We can find a 1 though, because we need a 1, 6, 8, and a 9 for these 4 empty squares. There's a 6, 8, and a 9 blocking this cell here. Therefore, that must be a 1. This 1 blocks down, this 1 blocks down, this 1 blocks over, so a 1 must go here. These two now must be a 5 and a 6, I believe, yes. And given the 6 here blocking, this square must be a 6 and this square must be a 7. There's only one square left in row 8. It's easy to figure out that that is a 7. And since we remember that these must be a 5 and a 6, we know that these must be a 1 and a 3, making these a 9 and a 7. A 7 is blocking down, so the 9 goes here and this 7 here. Now this 9 blocks up. We got a couple of 9s blocking across, making this a 9. A 3, 7, and a 6 for these squares here. There's a 3 blocking here. There's a 3 blocking here, so a 3 must go here. This is now a 7 and a 6, 7 and a 6. We got a 7 in the column, so a 6 goes here and a 7 here. And therefore, this must be a 7. These two must be a 5 and a 6. Not sure about those, but I'm sure about this. This must be an 8. And these two, therefore, must be a 3 and a 2. We got a 3 in the row, so the 2 is forced to go here and the 3 here. Now we got a 2 blocking up, another 2 blocking down, a 2 blocking over, a 2 therefore goes here. This is now a 5 and a 6. We got a 6 in the row. So the 5 goes here and the 6 here, making this a 5. And we also need a 5 now for this square because the 5 blocks across here, right? So I'm sure we all remember this must be a 6, making this a 6. And this is a 1, making this a 1. And here we need a 3. And that's it for today's New York Times Art Sudoku. It had us jumping around quite a bit, but we managed to solve it in a decent time, I think. I hope you enjoyed it as well, and I hope to see you back here again soon.